Okay, it's 5:35, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Thank you all for coming to our Movimiento QuickStrike Bike Boulevard online workshop. We're really excited to talk to you guys today about some cool plans we have for bike boulevards in East San Jose. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and introduce ourselves. That was basically our hold music for the meeting. Our intro slides. Go. Here we go. Can everyone see my screen? Can I have a thumbs up if you can see the slideshow? Awesome.
You can, but you're in presenter mode.
Ah, the dreaded sharing of the wrong screen. Hold on a second. How about that? Great. So I've met some of you, but there are many of you I haven't met. My name is Natasha Opfeld, and I'm an associate transportation planner with San Jose's Department of Transportation. And I'm here with my colleague, Pete. Pete, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, come off mute.
Hi, everyone. I know many of you. I'm Pete Rice. I'm a transportation planner with the DOT.
And we're here to talk to you today about our QuickStrike and Movimiento Bike Boulevard projects. We have a bunch of city staff here from a bunch of different departments. We're really excited they could all come to be here to answer extra questions you might have. If you're a city staff person, you can wave if you have your camera on or send up a little emoji or emoticon, let people know you're here. We also have some Movimiento community advisory group members who have been such a great asset to us as part of this planning process. And I wanted to thank all of them for coming and for spreading the word about this meeting. And if you're hearing about these projects for the first time, we're just really excited to share them with you. So the MTC QuickStrike and Movimiento Bike Boulevard projects are projects that were proposed as part of two really important plans that have recently been adopted by the city of San Jose. The first plan is our East San Jose Multimodal Transportation Improvement Plan. That's East San Jose MTIP for short, or we call it Movimiento. And that was a area-wide transportation plan really focused on how we can make biking, walking, transit, and driving better in East San Jose, specifically around the future Five Loons BART station, Alum Rock, and some of the urban villages that were proposed around there. That was finalized in April 2020 and adopted by City Council right around then as well. Oh, I hear someone. If everyone could go on mute, that would be awesome. Thank you. The second plan that these bike boulevards are in San Jose's Better Bike Plan, which was also recently adopted. That is a set of near-term bike improvements that could be made around the city by the year 2025. So we wrote an application to MTC, which is the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. That's the kind of transportation big boss of the Bay Area. They govern all 9 Bay Area counties and allocate money. And we applied and got $1.4 million to design and build 7 bike boulevards that were part of these plans. So what is a bike boulevard? If you've heard of it, great. If you haven't, that is okay. Kind of a funny term. A bike boulevard is a street that slows cars down and reduces overall traffic, whether that's cut through or people trying to take a shortcut, so that people can walk and bike and enjoy the street safely. People who live on the street benefit from a quieter street where families can play and just have a more relaxed atmosphere. So the goals of the MTC QuickStrike Bike Boulevards are similar. We want to improve safety for people biking and walking. We want to slow cars down. We want to reduce cut-through traffic, which we heard loud and clear was a big problem in this area of East San Jose. And we want to create better neighborhood and citywide connections with these new routes. So here is a map that I hope you all can see of the 7 proposed bike boulevard corridors. I'll read them from west to east. So the first pink line you can see on the screen is north to south, and it's North 21st Street. Then from west to east, we have East William. Then north to south, South 28th Street and connecting to Bonita. Then we have 33rd Street. Then we have Cameron, going east to west on the right. And then we have South Sunset Avenue, Jose Figueres, Sharp, and Packing. And we'll go deeper into these maps later. So here is a summary of our timeline. Part of the fine print of getting this money is that the projects had to be shovel ready. And what that means is that they had to be part of a council adopted plan, which all of these bike boulevards were, and they had to be built within 2 years. So we have to move really fast when designing these, a little faster than we would like, but it allows us to do a lot of community outreach and get a lot of opinions within a short amount of time. So we're doing our best to do that. So right now we're in feedback period 1. We have some initial concepts based on the information we gathered as part of those 2 plans I mentioned, but we're here to share them with you today, get more feedback. We're going to be doing more workshops. We're going to fold all of that feedback in, come out with a second draft of designs, then open that up for feedback again and propose final designs in January. So why these 7 corridors out of all the ones in the project area? We want to enhance crosstown connectivity. East San Jose has a lot of freeways and really busy major corridors that create barriers for people walking and biking. Bike boulevards would connect to key protected bike lane infrastructure like San Antonio and get people downtown into the foothills. So this is just a really important part of this project. And it's not about just getting people downtown or far away, it's about investing in local active transportation networks. So these proposed corridors create key safe routes to schools, parks, business corridors, for people to go within this area of East San Jose and enjoy it while biking and walking safely. So here's that map I showed earlier, but with some key connectivity comments on it. So we can see that all of the bike corridors lead to schools, the schools being these little black icons with flags. Parks are in green. We can see a lot of them lead to parks. We can see that many of them lead to Allen Rock businesses and different transit hubs like the future 5 Room Sparks and local trails and parks.
Natasha,
Sure.
David pointed out in the chat that it's 28th Street, Little Portugal, BART Station. The naming of it was a sensitive issue.
Thank you. I appreciate the correction. Pete, if you could holler out any of the chat questions as they come up, or points of order like that one. I can't see the chat, so that would be really helpful.
Sure thing.
Thank you. Another goal of why these 7 corridors is lower traffic speeds and volumes. All the proposed corridors today are at the edge of what we think safe speeds are for people to walk and bike safely. And with targeted investment, which we're going to share what we think that might be today, we can get to those ideal speeds, we think, really easily and quickly. Finally, we want to achieve city goals. All the corridors in this plan have been identified as high priority corridors for active transportation investment. Like I said, they were in 2 adopted plans, and they also help support larger goals like our San Jose Climate Plan and our San Jose General Plan. And for those of that you might not know, San Jose has 2 really, really important citywide plans. I mentioned them just now: Climate Smart San Jose and Envision San Jose 2040, our general plan. And they set a really high bar for what DOT's goals are. Currently, here on the left, you can see this little donut chart. 24% of trips are taken by biking, walking, transit, or carpool shared rides. By 2040, the city has a goal to make that 75% of trips. That's a huge jump we have to make. And we can't realize that goal until we make some really big decisions and try to get people in more sustainable modes. Even further, in 2050, Climate Smart San Jose sets a goal of 88% of trips. So these are really our kind of our North Star goals for this work. So that was kind of the background and the introduction of the why, but we wanted to share a little more about what we know regarding these specific corridors. Here's a crash map of crashes that have happened between 2016 and 2020 along these proposed bike boulevard corridors. You can see with the yellow circle is 1 to 7 crashes. The orange circles are 8 to 20 crashes, and the red circles are 21 to 25 crashes. So we have a really good idea of where these crashes are happening and where the most where the most improvements need to happen to have the most impact. Also, bike boulevards, like I mentioned at the very beginning, we want to have a low amount of traffic. No one feels comfortable when there's a lot of cars on a street when you're biking or walking. So the ideal amount of traffic for streets is 1,500 cars a day. The maximum amount of cars a day is around 3,000. Here with the blue columns, you can see every street that's proposed as part of these projects. Most of them are close, or if not, almost there, fall within those two amounts. This is really exciting for us because sometimes we want to make a bike boulevard where the traffic is just too high, and that happens all too often. So we think that we can, with these targeted investments, get those numbers even closer to that green line. For 28th and Bonita, we see those numbers are above 4,000. Those corridors have come up time and time again as corridors that see a lot of cut-through traffic. And so we have to think really hard about how to bring those numbers down so that that community can have a calmer, safer street. Here are average speeds for all the corridors proposed as bike boulevards. We're using the AM peak, which is about 7 a.m. to 9:30 in the morning. The red line signifies the maximum speed that we like to see on bike boulevards, which is 20 miles an hour. And the green line signifies the ideal speed, 15 miles an hour. We don't want people racing down these streets to get to work. We want them to be getting back home or to a friend's house in a slow, relaxed manner. Good news for us, most of these streets, again, are almost there, if not there. We think that this is an opportune thing to capitalize on. If we can just make very targeted improvements, we can bring these speeds down rather quickly and with less of an impact on construction and things like that. So that was what we knew data-wise, and I wanted to share a little bit about what we've heard throughout our past planning processes in the area and why bike boulevards and why now. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, a recently adopted plan for East San Jose was Movimiento, which is a multimodal transportation improvement plan. How do we make biking, walking, transit, and more sustainable trips happen in East San Jose? And here is a slide that just shows some of the responses we got from the survey early on in that planning process. We heard that a lot of people supported north-south bike boulevards. You can see it highlighted here, the fourth bar down from the bottom. The dark blue on the top is support. The orange lines are it depends, so maybe with some specific considerations, and the turquoise is don't support. We can also see that there was, really immense support for east-west bike routes to BART and east-west bike boulevards. So this just supported our recommendations. We also have a survey response that we did as part of that planning effort of what makes it difficult to walk, bike, and take transit in the study area. An overwhelming amount of people said, the most amount of people said high vehicle speeds on streets. Cars move too fast. This really just helps us, plan streets that are slower and safer to get people biking, walking, and taking the bus. Some additional and Movimiento priority focus areas were safer pedestrian infrastructure for East San Jose, enhanced traffic calming. Speeding was an issue brought up time and time again. It's still brought up now. And safer bike infrastructure. If we want people to bike, we got to give them a safe place to do it. San Jose's Better Bike Plan is the final outreach process I'll talk about. And that just highlighted, a huge amount of outreach done all over the city, not just in East San Jose, but they came up with some things they heard loud and clear with the community in East San Jose that really kind of align with our Bike Boulevard goals. That's safer connections, connecting to schools, and making biking more convenient. So now I'm going to open it up for some participation and some fun, I hope. And we at DOT have been using a website called Ventimeter, and it's a really easy tool to help us get feedback from you, and you don't have to come off mute, and you don't have to raise your hand and talk in front of everybody if that's not your thing. You can easily go to www.menti.com and use this code 91136828. You can do it on your phone, which is how I usually do it. You can open up another tab in your browser if you're already on your computer. It works on iPads. Nick, if you can put it in the chat, people can easily enter it that way or click through. But we have some activities and some surveying there that we'll talk about next, if you guys are ready. I'd love for you guys to give it a try. I'm seeing some things pop up in the chat. Are there any questions about Mentimeter? Yes, to complete certain essential trips, we are using groceries, childcare, healthcare as examples for that. And 8% saying no. So we'll give another like 30 seconds for people to give your feedback. Oop, another person. Great. This is so fun. I love just watching it kind of grow and shift. And the best thing about this is it makes it easy for everyone to participate. That's a lot for recreation and exercise. That's really exciting to see. And a lot to get through from work. Great, thank you everyone. We'll go to the next question. What would make East San Jose, and you don't have to stick just to the project area I just showed, a better place to walk? When I'm thinking about making places better places to walk, I like to think of my favorite places to walk, which I think of places in my childhood or places I visit on vacation, streets I really like in San Jose, that maybe aren't in the project area, streets that are in the project area. Feel free to type in more things. Ooh, larger sidewalks. I like those. I like when I don't have to be like dipping in and out of people, especially when the people are using umbrellas. Planting and greenery, that's huge. Less trash. Well, definitely understand that one. Well lit at night. So important to feel safe when we're walking. More shade. Ooh, someone added land use, saying like it matters what you're walking to. Small retail centers, shaded sidewalks. Cleaner sidewalks, seating. More shade. These are great responses, guys. Thank you for all these ideas. So we've had 13 people respond to this one. That's awesome. Drivers who respect pedestrians and stop for, come on, scroll. Can't see that last one. And cross to unsigned intersections, so people yielding. More small businesses, more trees, wider streets, a lot of trees and shade. Better smells, that's important. All your senses matter when you're walking. This is great. And we'll go to the next question. Thank you guys for indulging me.
I just
Oh,
wanted to know, it looks like we also have a comment from Guadalupe about feeling safer to walk with family, which is really important to remember that, it's not just maybe us here in the meeting, but there's a lot of folks who might have smaller children, might have a stroller, something like that. So really think about, everybody who's using the street. So thank you, Guadalupe.
that's huge, Nick. Thank you, Guadalupe.
You're
Okay.
welcome anytime.
On to the next one. These are great and we'll share them with everyone after the meeting. So here's the next one. How do you feel about traveling by bike or scooter in East San Jose? So there's a couple options here. There's I currently bike and scooter and feel like the existing environment is satisfactory. It's good enough. Nothing needs to change. There's I currently bike and use micromobility, which fancy way to say scooter. Sorry, I didn't change that one. Yet I want to feel safer when doing it. You're doing it, but more needs to be done to make you feel safe. There's I want to use biking or I want to bike, I want a scooter, but I don't feel it's a safe option. I'm in that camp a lot. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, it's not worth it. I do not, there's another option. I do not want to bike, but I want others to be safe. So it might not be for you, but you understand that it could be dangerous for others. And then one of the final ones is I do not think we should be focused on biking and scootering as a transportation option. And that is a valid feeling. So we wanted to offer that option. And then there's other, it might be something completely different. And we'd love to hear that too. So
yeah, I wish we could put our own comment on here. I put the other because nothing here really reflected what I was thinking about.
Yeah,
which is not, it's not for me. For me, I can ride anywhere. I'm fine. I don't need bike boulevards, but for the general population, I'm looking for, a safer environment, things like that. So, the questions didn't really capture what I wanted to say.
Alan, so you're saying that you feel comfortable and then you might have a sense of comfort that someone else might not. So you understand that they might need a little more support.
Because we want a lot more people out there.
Yeah.
Biking, and they need everything to be safer, cleaner, usable.
Thank you for sharing that. No, that's huge. It's important to have, a good understanding that people have lots of different needs and the best bike facilities, the best streets accommodate, as many of those needs as possible in really providing the safety to our most vulnerable road users, who has the most to lose. Okay, so we have some really great responses. We had some more people participating in those open-ended ones, which is fine. Those are sometimes more fun. But 63% of people say, I want to use bikes or scooters, but do not feel that is safe. And that's huge, because that means the safer we make it, maybe more people would try. And that's what we're really going for here at DOT. We also had some responses that I currently use a bike or a scooter, yet I want to feel safer. That's something we hear a lot of. People want to, sing the praises of biking and scootering and tell others to do it. But if you're nervous, you might not want, to share it with others. And then someone submitted other. Thank you for these responses.
Also, Natasha, I just want to
ahead.
point out, Guadalupe made another great comment of some folks might not be able to ride a bike. And something that's also, I think, important in this conversation too, is that as these streets become safer and calmer to bike on, they're also more pleasant to walk down, to just sit on your porch and enjoy the street as well. So in a lot of cases, even if you might not be bicycling on these streets, these calmer streets can be a lot more enjoyable for all users too.
Thanks, Guadalupe. Keep chiming in the chat. I love your comments. Okay, next one. Final question for this section, kind of piggybacks on the last one. What would make East San Jose better for people who bike or scooter? Get creative here. Think of a place where maybe you rode a bike and you liked it a lot and it felt really safe, somewhere you scootered. Whether that was last week, yesterday, today, 20 years ago. Love to hear it. I see here we have some bikeways that are separate from cars. Places to stop and rest, huge. Protected bike lanes. Smooth paving, no route issues. Bike racks, you gotta have some place to park it, right? If you don't have a place to park it at the end, you're probably not gonna wanna ride there. A culture in which people respect their neighbor's safety. Continuous, no need to merge into traffic. These are some really good ideas. Education for motorists. Give it a couple, 30 more seconds. We're getting the usual 8 suspects participating. If anyone wants to put it in the chat because it's easier, feel free. Well-maintained bike lanes and reliably so. I've been avoiding San Antonio drinking out of glass. Yeah. Thank you for that insight. Educating residents that a bike lane is not a garbage lane. I've been seeing a lot about dumping today. Thank you for that feedback.
Natasha, would you mind if I interject real quick? This is Colin. I just had a
Sure.
comment in regards to the glass, and I know that Ellen had mentioned maintenance earlier. I'm going to put in the chat the number, great, now I've got to remember it, for our DOT dispatch. We do hit with our sweepers, we sweep every bike lane in the city every 2 weeks at least. Some we hit more often, some we need to do manually by hand, others we can use the sweeper on. But in any case, if you find a problem area, please do call our DOT dispatch at 408-794-1900. Let them know where the issue is. And by bringing it to our attention, we can go check it out, clean it up. We might end up prioritizing a spot for more attention in the future.
Thank you, Colin. That's such a useful phone number, and we can share it with everybody as a follow-up to this meeting if you don't catch it in the chat today. Okay, thank you everyone for participating. You might be tempted to answer future Mentimeter questions, but because they're all on there for the whole presentation, but we will go back to this activity again. So I'm gonna go back to the presentation and stop sharing this. And if you guys don't like Mentimeter or are not interested in using it, put it in the chat. I would love to know if it was just not working for you or if you didn't like it. And if you did, I'd also like to hear that too. Is it sharing the presentation or the presentation viewer? Okay, good. Sometimes it doesn't like to behave. So, talking about our group's goals here today, sharing the goals of the outreach efforts in the past and the citywide goals. How can we get these goals done with these specific projects? The next couple slides, we're going to talk about different tools in our transportation planner toolbox, if we want to be nerdy about it, such as speed bumps and different things we can put in the streets to get those speeds down, to get people not doing cut through traffic on the streets, to make people biking and walking feel more comfortable. I'm going to hand it over to Pete to go through these.
All right, thanks, Natasha. Yeah, I was having some technical difficulties, so hopefully everyone can hear me and we don't have any more of that going forward. Let's go to the next slide. All right, so like Natasha said, I'm going to get into the tools we have in our toolbox to help us achieve our goals. Before we get into that, I just want to reiterate the importance of lowering vehicle speeds from a safety standpoint. So I think this graphic here really says it all. So if a person is hit by a car going 40 miles per hour, chances are they're going to die 90% of the time is what it says here. But if you reduce the speed of the vehicle to 20 miles per hour, a person will survive 90% of the time. It's really hard to overstate what a dramatic difference that 20 miles per hour makes there. That's literally life and death. So with that said, let's get into the treatments here. So the first one we have here are speed tables and cushions. I think most of you are probably familiar with these. They're humps in the roadway that slow vehicles down to 15 or 20 miles per hour. You can see here in the pic on the right, it shows speed humps with paths for emergency vehicles and bikes to pass through more smoothly. Next slide, please. All right, next we have chicanes. So chicanes they're typically a combination of bulb outs and median islands. They create like a weave in the roadway. So vehicles have to slow down to follow the S pattern. And you can see here and this one on the left, they provide an opportunity for some green infrastructure. Looks quite nice. Next one, please. All right, here we have raised crosswalks. So raised crosswalks are similar to speed humps in that there are humps in the roadway that force vehicles to slow down. They have the added benefit here of forcing the slowdown to occur at the precise location that people will be crossing. And at least one study showed they can reduce pedestrian crashes by 45%. Next one, please. All right, these are bulb outs. I feel like I've been talking about bulb outs in a lot of projects recently. So bulb outs, they're basically extensions of the curb. They reduce the crossing distance for pedestrians when they're crossing the street, so it leaves them less exposed to oncoming traffic. And then they force cars to slow down as they're going around corners, thereby improving intersection safety. Next one. All right, stop signs and high visibility crosswalks. I think I don't have to describe what stop signs are for you all. High visibility crosswalks are exactly what the name implies. The picture on the left here provides a nice contrast between a high vis crosswalk on the near side and a no crosswalk on the far side of the street. And so in prior years, we were limiting high vis crosswalks to downtown, but now we're expanding where we'll implement them. Next one, please. All right, here we have traffic diverters. So traffic diverters are roadblocks that limit auto access, but they allow people who walk and bike through. They're really the gold standard for reducing cut-through traffic and making bike boulevards feel safe and comfortable. But they're difficult to plan for East San Jose. I mean, we have Coyote Creek and the freeways and a large number of dead-end streets as you get east of 101. So there are only so many streets that in this area that really connect through, and so it's difficult to add even more barriers. Doesn't mean we can't do it. We just have to be, thoughtful about where we put them. Next one, please. All right, here we have refuge islands and wayfinding. So refuge islands, you can see it pictured here on the right. They are islands in the middle of the roadway. They provide a refuge for pedestrians when crossing. So they create two short crossings rather than one longer one. Wayfinding in this case, we're referring to signs and pavement markings that indicate that the route is shared. It's a shared and slow street. These markings, they reinforce the idea that bicycles are a priority and people who bike are entitled to roadway space. And then the last one we have here is traffic circles. So traffic circles, they're pretty popular in Europe and they're becoming more popular here. They do take a little getting used to. They can be more efficient from a traffic flow standpoint than stop controlled intersections. You may have seen the famous Mythbusters episode on that. They also are known for reducing the incidence of certain dangerous collision types, so like head-on collisions and T-bone collisions. You may have noticed that we've installed some of these on San Antonio within the last year. So we're currently going through an evaluation of those circles as well as the other treatments on the corridor. And we're going to use that evaluation to inform whether to install traffic circles on any of the QuickStrike project corridors, and also whether to change the design details of traffic circles that we implement. All right, so those are the different treatments, and I just want to take a quick second to talk about the materials we'll be using for these treatments. So originally, we scoped these projects to be built with quick build materials. This is one of the reasons we were awarded the grant, is because we said we could build 7 bike boulevards quickly for a relatively low cost. Since then, the department has been looking for ways that we can use sturdier, longer lasting materials. And so as of now, we have not made a decision on which way to go. I will say that either way, we'd like to do more than the simple paint and plastic that we've done recently. I think you can see the pictures here. You know, quick build can look quite nice. So I'd like to think of this slide as inspiration if we do go the quick build approach here. All right, so let's pause now. Does anyone have any questions or comments for what I just went over?
I have a question comment on the traffic circles that have been implemented so far. Just a quick kind of question, double checking when you're studying the effectiveness of these traffic circles. I'm not sure if multiple sizes have been implemented, but making sure that you're factoring in the size when you're checking how effective they've been, because I know San Antonio hasn't quite had the effect we had hoped for some of the neighbors, probably due to their limited size. But hopefully maybe they've been more effective elsewhere if they've been a different size. So something just consider as you look into the studies.
Absolutely, thanks for that comment.
Also, we have a survey right now going on for kind of as part of this evaluation process. Nick, if you could go ahead and drop that survey into the chat. We're going to be doing that through December. So the feedback you just shared, if you want to share it again there, that would be awesome. And,
Yeah.
and anyone that has thoughts about San Antonio.
Thank you.
We've got another hand up in the participant list. Michael's got his hand up.
Hi, Michael, go ahead and ask a question.
I wonder if he is speaking and we can't hear him.
Oh yeah, I see that there's no little mute icon. Michael, if you're talking, we cannot hear you. If you want to go ahead and put it in the chat, we can read it out loud. Oh, I saw the hand rolling. We can get back to you, Michael, any way you'd like. Any other questions before we move on to our next Mentimeter activity? I know you just have been on the edge of your seats for when the next time we can use Mentimeter. Okie dokie. So again, go back to Menti, MENTI.com and type in the code 91136828. I will share that screen again. So the next question, what bike boulevard treatments that we just talked about do you like best? And this is a fun ranking exercise. I keep saying it's fun because it's really fun to me, but I know that that's a personal opinion. But please drag your favorite ones to the top and make a list of your most favorite to least favorite. It'll be hard if you like them all the same, but you can just add that in the chat if you really can't see your favorite, or if you don't like them at all. You can share that in the chat as well. Ooh, the great sorting has begun. So the first person that submitted likes high visibility crosswalks the best. Ooh, now it's changing. Chicanes are #1. Ooh, speed cushions. This is where it gets fun. It's almost like watching a race or something. We have 3 people chiming in. As more and more people submit their answers, these will keep adjusting. Again, if anyone can't participate using Mentimeter, please feel free to chime in the chat. Which things you talked about are you most interested in? What do you like best? What do you not like? Chicanes coming out on top again. I'm wondering if people really think, you know, like the squiggling is the best thing about them, or the green opportunities, or both. High visibility crosswalks are up there. Seat cushions and tables on 3rd. Oh, poor chicane dropped down to 3rd, but we have high visibility crosswalks up there. This is great feedback. Awesome. We've been getting about 8 responses from folks. Was there anything in the chat? Hearing none. I think we'll start talking about our corridor by corridor proposals.
I had the same thought about chicanes and whether the green infrastructure was part of the reason they're scoring high. But we can do green infrastructure in bulb outs, diverters, and traffic circles as well. Now that everyone's voted.
Alan
But-
brings up a great point as well about thinking about the maintenance and if that's something that there are community members who might be interested in, and just in terms of watering and planting and trimming and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's something we'll look, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Is DOT planning to maintain these greeneries?
That would be something that we'd have to, one, see what, what are the materials that we have. We'll do a cost estimate. We'll talk internally about the feasibility of maintaining them, talk with our arborist about what can go in them, and then, and plan that all out. And then if there are community members that are very interested as we, keep going along this.
But you don't have specific funding to maintain greenery. You'd have to rely on somebody else to use their existing funds and equipment to do that.
We have ways to explore different kind of flexible funding opportunities. We just have to have those conversations if that's a treatment that comes up. And we'll make a plan for that as we go on. We're at the very beginning right now, and the arborist is kind of waiting in the wings to come in and excited about all the opportunities in East San Jose for tree plantings. There's also some really cool grant opportunities. Oh, go ahead, Colin.
This is Colin. I just want to chime in quickly on trees. Whenever we set aside money to plant a tree, we include 3 years of maintenance for that tree, and that's watering and pruning. We are currently working through council to approve a community forest management plan, which takes some of the goals that we have for improving our tree canopy and assigns significant funding needs and work plan steps to get to that goal. And there's a lot that needs to be done. I can say, for example, we recently got a grant to plant something like 250 trees. So each of those we assign approximately a $700 to $800 value that includes buying the tree, planting the tree, and watering it, keeping it alive for 3 years.
Thanks, Colin. So I'll turn it back over to Pete to talk about our initial and Movimiento QuickStrike Bike Boulevard recommendations. I just want to stress that this is the very beginning of the design process. We are, just putting pen to paper and thinking of what are the first round of things we could do. We are very flexible in hearing, taking all the feedback we get throughout this planning process, folding it in wherever possible, and iterating on these designs till we get to the best possible product that fits in our budget. And if we see things that the community wants that don't fit in our budget, keeping those on the back burner and applying for the next grant we can to get them in. So we're really excited to share these with you. Pete, I'll hand it to you.
All right, thanks, Natasha. You're still driving the presentation.
Yeah, I'll go to the next one.
And that was well put about the iterations. I have here on my notes, the first thing to stress is that this is our first draft. So if you see something you don't like, tell us about it, but don't worry too much that this is what's gonna be the final product. So we're only doing the first 4 corridors tonight, as we said earlier, and then next Thursday we have 3 more corridors. So the corridors tonight are west of King Road. So the first one we have here is 21st Street. This is a north-south corridor, of course. It provides some important connections to schools, parks, trails. It gets you across East Santa Clara. In the future, we hope that it will connect to a St. John project that runs from Diridon all the way to the 28th Street Little Portugal BART station. This corridor is already pretty calm. It has the lowest average daily traffic in the network. Speed is a bit higher than we'd like to see, but not terrible. So the treatments we have here on this concept are, we have bulb outs at East Santa Clara and San Fernando and Brookwood Ave. And then we have a diverter here at East Santa Clara as well. So this diverter, it's only on one side of the street. It would block southbound traffic coming on to 21st Street from most likely Santa Clara, but also from the northern portion of 21st. And then we have some speed cushions. You can see each block between Santa Clara and William Street. So 4 total speed cushions there. Then we have the existing traffic circle at San Antonio and a new traffic circle where this project intersects with our William Street project. So for each of these 4 designs, we're going to pause after I review the treatments and get a little feedback from you all. So what do people think of this design? Does anything stand out? What are your initial impressions of this first draft?
Oh, and I quickly want to add, Pete, really, really quick, is what I was just going to say. The traffic circle that's on this image here at East San Antonio already exists with paint and plastic. So any money allotted for this project would go to enhancing that traffic circle in some way, and especially enhancing it in ways that we find might need to be, improved through our evaluation.
Hey, Pete, Natasha, it looks like there's a great comment from Joan about wanting to turn down 21st Street headed south from the community center and not being able to do that. So does someone want to maybe talk about how folks in that situation might use the street a little bit differently?
No, that's great feedback. These are the things we want to hear. What are the important connections that need connecting? And also there are different ways that we can position or change the, how we do this diverter. We're very flexible. So hearing that type of feedback's good. Also, you would still be able to make turns before and after the street. So even though it might not, be the shortest distance anymore, you'll be able to get around another way, but we'll work to make sure that this is, meets everyone's needs as much as possible. So thank you, Joan, for that feedback. That is really insightful about the community center connection.
Yeah, if you recall what I said earlier about the difficulty of planning diverters in East San Jose, this is one location where we do have a pretty good street grid, and there all are alternative routes. You could take 22nd or 20th.
Estoy viendo una junta, hija. Pues ya sabes. Sí.
Sorry, Guadalupe, did you have a comment, or did you just accidentally come off mute?
Espérame, Cindy. Yes.
Well,
I want to know in San Antonio, what is the crossing street where you put the diverter?
Oh, it's not on San Antonio. It would be a little off of East Santa Clara on 21st. So if you're going east on Santa Clara, you would not be able to make a right. If you were going west on Santa Clara, you wouldn't be able to make a left south onto 21st Street. This is just our initial proposal. We are open to all feedback. We can change this, move it, get rid of it. This was just a street that already had really low traffic, about 600 vehicles a day. So if we were going to do a diverter, the place that would have the least quote unquote impact would be here. But again, we want to be sensitive to the needs of folks.
So the crossing street is 21st Street and San Antonio?
Santa Clara, 21st and Santa Clara.
Oh, 21st and Santa Clara. But San Antonio, what is the crossing street?
21st as well. This is 21st going, it's a little hard to see because it's north-south, but it's left to right on here. San Antonio and 21st has this yellow kind of bullseye image. That is right now a traffic circle. This would be improving that traffic circle to make it work as best as possible.
Yeah, this yellow circle, where is located? San Antonio and what?
21st.
21st. Okay, I'm clear now.
Sorry, we could have made that clearer.
No, thank you so much.
And Natasha, it looks like Mike has a question as well about parking. And Mike, if you'd like to go ahead and unmute.
Okay, looks like it's working now. So a couple questions I have. So I live and deal with the bike boulevard on San Antonio, and from driving the street, my opinion is that the street is now less safe for drivers and bicyclists. And now as you're planning to do this on other streets, I'm also, wondering, particularly in this one, you're looking at stopping southbound traffic, but isn't there a grocery store on the corner of 21st and Santa Clara whose parking lot entrance is on 21st? So now you're gonna have to have people go down another street, come across, go up, and you're just making more traffic.
It's actually on 20th Street.
It's 20th?
Yeah, there's El Chaparral and then there's the market across the street. They're on
La
20th.
Plaza?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you,
Okay,
Mike, for
'cause
bringing up.
Because the other issue with
Oh,
this
go
with
ahead.
this little area here is you finally have some businesses on Santa Clara Street with no parking. So people that are trying to get to these businesses have to turn down the numbered streets to actually find a place to park. And when you're adding parking on top of all this, I just don't see where you've got room to dedicate space when you've already got congested parking and there's just no room for anything.
Thanks for that feedback, Mike. We'd definitely be, when we were out there on our surveying rides that we were doing, we did notice that there was some business entrances there. We know that we'll have to reach out to the business if we did go forward with this type of improvement. We do want to be hyper context sensitive. So thank you for sharing that feedback that people that go to these businesses might park there. We will consider all of that if we go forward with this. But we were happily surprised at the low amount of vehicles using this street already. And one of the things that residents in these areas have shared with us is that they are concerned that there's a lot of people driving up and down that don't necessarily have to be. So that this was one way to address that, but we can explore others. Caitlin, I see you have your hand up.
I share, sorry, I share Mike's sentiment about the improvements on San Antonio not having the positive effect that we hope they would, and it not, in fact, being safer. I think it's worth noting that this street is wider than its two neighbors on 20th and 21st. And so by limiting traffic even further on the wider road, it's an improvement for cyclists. And it's nice that it does continue north beyond Santa Clara. However, that'll be pushing traffic onto smaller streets that already have existing speeding issues. Also at William Street, along William, where there are so many accidents, the ones that I've seen in our neighborhood tend to be near the intersections. So late at night when you have a car speeding and they go to swerve around a traffic circle, I think that just potentially might increase the opportunity for them to hit a car as they try and swerve back, just based on kind of the pattern that we've seen in our neighborhood.
Thank you for that feedback. And this is being recorded today, as well as we have some staff taking notes. Thank you to them for taking notes. And we'll incorporate all of this into our evaluation. We're collecting data as we speak about the crashes and speeds and all that stuff, and any further traffic circle activities, designs, we'll be, folding all of this stuff in. So thank you.
Thank you.
But I wanted to be clear that also that there's no parking removal with this project. It's a bike boulevard. We're not installing bike lanes like we did east of King on San Antonio. So I don't know if that's what Mike was referring to or not, but there's no parking loss planned here on this street.
Great, we can go to the next one. We're at 6:30, so we have 3 more.
All right. Let's see. Okay, so we're at William Street and William Court here. This is a vital east-west connection that leads to downtown. We see about 2,700 cars per day, which is below our max threshold of 3,000, but it's not at our target of 1,500. Speeds here are not terrible, about 23 miles per hour for the AM peak. We'd still like to get that down a little bit though for a bike boulevard. So the treatments we have on this page here are, we have bulb outs on both sides at Brookwood Ave. So the one on the south side, that would slow cars that are coming around the bend there. Then we're showing the existing bulb outs at 18th. Then we have a series of intersection treatments, including the traffic circle I mentioned earlier with our 21st Street project. And then as we get to William Court, to the east of McLaughlin / 24th, we have a series of speed cushions. So this section is, as you all know, is a long, narrow straightaway with parking on just one side of the street. There are no cross streets, so we have some speed cushions in there. And then on Bonita there, we have a bulb out that would slow vehicles turning right from Bonita onto William. So let's discuss this one. What are your initial impressions? What do people think about our William concept?
Really quickly, Joan in the chat put, what is that yellow arrow on 24th? That is something we forgot to put on the legend. We would be adding a turn pocket to facilitate that left-hand movement onto 24th. Oh, Mike, I see your hand up. If that's a fresh hand.
Thanks. Yeah, so what are you trying to achieve on William Street that you haven't done on San Antonio? It seems like you're just duplicating another bike boulevard 1 block or 2 blocks away from each other. That's the first question. Secondly, is what are you planning on doing on Bonita? Because Bonita already, so this is a road that I travel a lot. It gets me to my home. And Bonita is fairly narrow. There's only parking allowed on one side of the street. And whenever an emergency vehicle, a UPS truck, a DoorDash driver, anybody stops on the other side of the street, traffic, car traffic comes to a screeching halt, because you can't get around it. And doing anything else to the street, adding anything, is going to be a nightmare. The parking in this part of town is so congested. People are already parking on corners illegally and up on side, it's just a nightmare. So doing anything over there is, I think, just going to exacerbate problems that already exist.
Thanks for sharing that, Mike. That is, it's important that we get the people who live and are affected by these things, their context. Bonita Street and William are especially important to us to add some, features that will slow cars down, because they're some of the fastest streets in this network. We were seeing speeds of upwards of 30 miles per hour at times on these streets, which we know is dangerous for people walking and biking. We can see that there are a lot of uncontrolled crossings right now on William. So hopefully these speed cushions that will not, there's no parking removal with these projects right now, will slow cars down as they hit that straightaway. And Bonita is the street we're going to be talking about later. We have some considerations for Bonita, but width is something that we're monitoring right now. We also, I think, have some of our engineers on the call that are very, very aware of the needs of emergency vehicles and delivery drivers, and we're always trying to make sure that we're being very context sensitive. This is very similar to San Antonio. This is a street that could benefit from safer intersection improvements because of the connections to schools and the connections to downtown. So it was identified as a key street for this type of infrastructure. It does not have the space currently to have protected bike lanes. So this is a good middle ground where we can make the needs of people biking and walking safer, but then also bring those vehicle speeds down, because we've been seeing a lot of crashes.
I would just add that it's also, for people who are coming up McLaughlin, who want to cross 101 on San Antonio, they need to have a way to get to San Antonio. And 24th, you're saying that Bonita is fast and crowded and things like that. 24th is much worse than Bonita. There's a ton of traffic on 24th, and it's a narrow street that we can't fit bike lanes on, and we do not want people biking up 24th if they don't have to. And so by having a facility on William, that allows people to get over to Bonita, to get over to San Antonio and get across that way. And then, of course, to the west, it connects to downtown. So those
it connects as far as Brookwood, right? It connects as far as the school, and then you have nothing.
No, it connects across Coyote Creek, was a major barrier in that area.
Okay.
Imelda, I see your hand is up. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, just to support the comments that were made before me right now. And specifically for that corner where William Street dead ends at Bonita, it is really tough. So first of all, there's parking on both sides of William, not on the Bonita side, but I'm thinking rather than a bulb out, maybe some street improvements, and it could be embossed or raised crosswalks, just to let the driver know that it's coming into an intersection. But I'm not sure a bulb out, because it's really tough to turn in either direction right there.
Thank you, Imelda, for that insight. That is something we can look further into and report back at the next outreach event. Mike, did you have another question, or was that from last time? Oh, thank you. We had some good questions in the chat about what do we mean by intersection improvements. So we didn't want to ascribe any certain improvement at this point in the design. We just know that these intersections need some safety improvements. So if you think back to the toolbox we presented, this could be high visibility crosswalks, fold outs, it could be raised crosswalks, it could be refuge islands, any mix and match of those things. Hearing what we heard today and hearing what we, using what we hear from other outreach events, we'll plug all those things in, see what works, what doesn't work, and come back with a more refined design for you the next time. On to the next one. People have been wanting to talk about Bonita. Here it is.
Yeah, everyone was getting ahead of ourselves talking about 28th and Bonita. So like I was saying, these are both fast and busy streets compared to the other corridors that we've looked at. 28th sees about 4,800 automobiles per day. Bonita is around 5,200. Again, we want to be below 3,000 with a target of 1,500 for a really good bike boulevard. And then the 85th percentile speeds are around 26 to 28 miles per hour, which is higher than we'd like to see. So taking a look at the treatments here, think about, will these be enough to reduce the traffic speeds and volumes to make this corridor feel comfortable and safe for people who walk and bike? These are residential streets. A lot of people live right here. And I should also note that this is going to be an important connection to BART one day. So the treatments we have an intersection treatment at East Santa Clara. And then we have a series of bulb outs at each intersection on 28th between East Santa Clara and San Antonio. Then on Bonita, we have an intersection treatment at San Antonio, a speed cushion between San Antonio and Peach Court, and then the bulb out that we've all been talking about at the corner of William.
Also, we're talking actively right now because of all the things you guys brought up, the parking on one side of the street, the kind of weird jiggle the street does. It gets narrow in some places, wide in others. We're talking internally with our engineers to come up with like very context specific recommendations, so that's why you can see that we don't have intersection improvements everywhere. We want to improve the intersections, but this is a very special street as far as how it works right now. So we wanted to hear from you guys. You've already been sharing context about this street. If there was any other feedback we can get about things that are currently happening. Mike, thank you for bringing up the delivery drivers causing congestion because the street is so narrow. We'd love to hear more from you guys about things that are happening, things that are unsafe, things that are causing bad behavior, etc. Mike, I saw your hand pop up.
Yeah, here I am again.
Yes.
So the bulb outs, I think, are going to be really problematic. And the reason for that, you can see an example of that if you ever drive down to the bulb out that's at Sunny Court and Bonita. What ends up happening, because again, parking is so tight in this neighborhood, people end up parking in the around that bulb out. So there's often times where at that corner of Sunny Court and Williams, somebody's parked their car along the bulb out, leaving their car basically in the travel lane. So if there is a car traveling, southbound, nobody can travel northbound until that car clears. So you're going to have that issue all the way up that street, because people will do that. People will park at an angle just to get a parking spot, and you're gonna cut that street down from two lanes of narrow traffic to 1 lane of traffic.
Thanks for that, Mike. It's really important that we hear these things. We can definitely go back to the drawing board with this and think of different ways and maybe come up with some different options for you guys to see as we move forward. So,
and I guess I have another question too, is like that intersection improvement. What more can you possibly do to San Antonio and Bonita? That what was done there right now with the cement curbs and the things you guys added makes it more hazardous, because people can't figure out when they're turning, particularly when you're turning from Bonita left onto San Antonio, nobody can find the lane, and people end up starting to make the turn and they pause in the middle of the intersection because they don't know where they're supposed to drive. I mean, if any intersection looked like it needed to get rid of stop signs and maybe try a traffic circle, I mean, that's one that's actually wide enough to support a traffic circle. Because you basically have like 4 or 3 and a half streets coming into that weird Y intersection.
Yeah, that is a funky intersection. There was a point in time when the traffic circle was the long-term vision for that intersection. I do think that what we've done there recently is a drastic improvement over what was there before.
Not if you live in the neighborhood, because now what happens is you can't make right-hand turns if you're traveling on San Antonio. Before you could get 2 cars in there and make a right-hand turn onto Bonita. Now, and this is common of what happened there and also at King Road. Now the traffic backs up because cars aren't able to flow in a normal pattern. They're stopped and backed up down the street because the intersection now only accommodates 1 car at the intersection instead of 2.
Thanks for that feedback. We're evaluating the San Antonio project, like I mentioned before. King Road and this intersection were really dangerous for people walking and biking. And we're hearing from you, very valid things, that it's creating backup, and we're looking into that. But we also have heard that people are having a much safer time getting around here. So we're trying to balance all those needs and come up with a way that, our most vulnerable people, the people that could get hit and really hurt, are.
No, I totally get that. And I know we're not talking about San Antonio Street, but the, I drive San Antonio 2 or 4 times a day, and normally during what would be considered commute hours. And over the last year, I have literally counted a total of 6 people biking on that street. And of the 6, only 2 were using the bike lanes. So they're using the traffic road where there are bike lanes, separated, and these no turn lanes have made congestion just horrible in the neighborhood.
Thanks for that feedback. We'll reach out to you, Mike, one-on-one. We'd love to hear more.
That'd be perfect. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
And then we can let you in on a little bit of where we're at with our evaluation more specifically.
I love that. Thank you.
And anyone else that wants to know more about that, we can extend that offer to you guys through a follow-up email. Thank you. Imelda, did you have a question? Or was that a leftover from last time?
I think I left. Yeah, I'm gonna bring my hand down. But,
thank you.
no,
Sorry, I want to make sure I didn't pass it over.
But I can say that I do like the stop signs on San Antonio at Bonita, because it slows down some of the car traffic that comes down the hill from the bridge.
Yeah, cars do pick up speed coming down there. That was a good point. Thank you, Imelda. David?
Yeah, I'll actually second much of what Mike Amaral said. Coming eastbound down San Antonio, the overpass, you still have to think too much before you get to the stop sign, thinking that you want to make a right turn. If you want to make a right turn, that bike lane is very poorly very poorly marked. It's not marked with enough anticipation of that. It is divided with those plastic vertical dividers, but that lane almost looks wide enough for a car, and people have taken out their, I know of one who's taken out his undercarriage. My mechanic happens to know the person, by going over that concrete curbing that's there. So that San Antonio Bonita is it's an interesting treatment that you implemented there, that most of what Mike Amaral said, I would agree with at San Antonio and Bonita. It's some of it works and some of it doesn't.
Thank you. And I think to Mike's initial question, when you first asked what possibly could we do more there, using what we're learning from the evaluation, hearing from you guys today, we can take, head back out there, get creative, see how we can, bolster the improvements to make it more clear to drivers, easier to navigate. We don't want anyone getting too confused, but also there is a blessing in disguise when people go a little slower to figure things out. They're not speeding anymore, which is useful. Any other comments about what's proposed here? It loud and clear. We have a lot of work to do, and we're excited to get back to the drawing board and come up with something that meets as many needs as possible. This was our last corridor, and we're going to go back to Mentimeter, my favorite thing. Really quickly before we let you go for dinner, thank you guys so much for spending so much time to talk about this. Let me make sure that. Oh, just kidding. How could I forget about 33rd?
This is the last corridor.
I apologize.
All right. Yep. So 33rd, our last corridor, like we just said, the only one on the east side of the freeway for tonight. We have a pretty interesting long-term vision for this street. One day we hope to connect over Lower Silver Creek Trail over the Lower Silver Creek to where the trail will be, and then possibly connect through to Las Plumas and then head up to Berryessa Bar. For now, though, we are looking at just 33rd between Melody Lane and San Antonio. Of course, we have Ann Darling School there. And 33rd connects to all the major east-west routes in the area: McKee, Alum Rock, San Antonio. So the treatments we have here, we have speed humps on much of the corridor. I guess we have a little window there between St. James and McKee, but most of the other blocks have speed humps. Then we have bulb outs. We're showing the existing bulb outs at Berrywood, and then we have some new ones down at St. James and around East Santa Clara. And then finally, we have a new traffic circle at Shortridge Ave. So what do people think of this one?
And 33rd was also some of the highest speeds. We think back to that speed chart. And
that's right.
David, did you have your hand up for 33rd?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for a good place to interject my 33rd Street questions and comments.
Well, now is the perfect time. We are open for discussion.
North 33rd between Alum Rock and Alum Rock and McKee, that's a very narrow street. It only has parking on one side. So I envision much of what Mike Amaral talked about on Bonita also applying here.
Yeah.
The bulb out there at Alum Rock, that corner, I mean, North 33rd between Alum Rock and McKee is just, I'll reiterate, it's really narrow. And it's hard to get two cars passing each other in different directions, especially if there are cars parked on that one side, which is the west side of the street. And there are always cars parked on the west side of the street. So it's a tough street, and you're going to put bikes on there into the mix officially. They're, it's kind of, I don't know, a recipe for disaster.
That's good feedback, David. Thank you. We are aware of the narrow street. That's why we have very, our toe in the pool of traffic calming was, these speed tables to get speeds down, because we see a lot of speeding in the exact segment you're talking about. And I just want to make clear that no matter what streets we're saying are bike boulevards right now, bikes are allowed on all streets in San Jose, so they're always in the mix. Just want to make that.
Well, but you want to make them safe, and I don't know that there are high rates of speed going on North 33rd between Alum Rock and McKee, unfortunately, and those speed cushions may help. I hope they would, but I don't know.
You're saying we could do more. We are excited to do more. We love being asked to do more.
I don't know. I think you're going to end up, I don't know. I'm going to withhold the rest of my comments and wait to see what happens.
Well, we'll come back with a couple options and talk through it more, David. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think those are good comments, David. And 33rd is tough because, like I said, it connects to all the major east-west streets, and at least Santa Clara and McKee go right to the freeway. And so people are going to use that to access the freeway. The data we have does show that the speeds are not too bad on this stretch. This is actually the lowest 85th percentile speed we have on this northern section of 33rd. But I think you make some good points there.
Angel, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, hi. Thank you guys. Came a little late into the meeting. Apologize for that. But really quick question. Could you just explain what speed cushions are for me? I'm sure that was done prior, but I apologize.
Yeah, I don't mind going over them. So speed cushion, we've all heard of speed bumps. Speed cushions is a little bigger, a little softer on cars and bikes. They are wider. So you have you're up for longer and then down. We can share a picture in the chat, but imagine a really wide speed bump.
Great. Thank you, Natasha.
So I see a comment in the chat. Let me check it. Great. Awesome. Any more comments? Again, this is just the beginning. Thank you for sharing the feedback. We'll fold this all in and come back with something better that hopefully addresses comments and concerns we heard today. Last chance for now to talk about 33rd. Great. So now the last and final Mentimeter activity. If you can go back one more time before we all head out and close up shop for the day to menti.com and use the code 91136828. You can get some final comments on the designs today and some things that you want us to consider as we take all this feedback and get back to work. Let me switch screen. And if you forgot the code, it's up here at the top. 91136828. So the question I have for you guys now is, do you feel that the designs presented today get to our goals of safer, slower streets? There's 3 answers, and if those answers don't capture what you want to say, you can put it in the chat, email us later. We'll tell you how to do that. Number 1, yes, I feel as though designs are sufficient. No more work needs to be on it. Just go with those. There's another option to say somewhat. I feel as though these designs are a start, but more can be done, or different things can be done. This is just you gotta do more. And then there's no. I do not agree that these treatments presented will be effective at making safer, slower streets. So I figured we'd be here. We are in the middle somewhat. I feel as though the designs are a start, but more can be done. And what makes me excited to hear that is that we truly are at the start. And the fun part of my job is getting back and folding all the things that are in the mix into making the best designs possible. I'm excited to get back to work with Pete on that. There will be more times to comment and see our updated design. So thank you for sharing that with us. Next, Mentimeter question. This are open-ended. We feel free to answer or not, depending on how you feel. But moving forward, what are key considerations you would like San Jose DOT to keep in mind? I heard a lot about narrow streets and things getting clogged up due to either people parking illegally, delivery drivers taking up too much room, emergency vehicles coming. I heard things about traffic circles, making sure that whatever we do to them, make sure that they work better than the ones that are there today. I heard that family safety and walking around with and feeling safe with your family is important. So feel free to throw those all up on this board again. Width of streets, thank you for that one. I heard parking concerns. I heard some making sure that we consider dumping and litter. How is public transportation affected by these designs? That's awesome. Thank you. We're always thinking about that. So we could bring that back next time. We have 1 or 2 more minutes, please, probably just one, because I know people are quite antsy to get to food. We want safer streets, but need to acknowledge cars are a reality on our streets and need to integrate the needs of pedestrians and cyclists. Finding a balance is so difficult. Trade-offs need to happen. How can we do those, in the best way possible? That is what makes our job hard, and that's what makes me excited to keep doing my job, because hopefully I can get to better answers, and I'm excited to get to work on that. Thank you for that feedback. Appearance of street improvements, install greenery, art, etc. That's something we're really excited about. We've heard through different channels of our work getting outreach on this that people want more green, they want more art. Where can we add murals? We're asking those same questions inside. Hopefully by next time we can get some opportunities for that stuff. Longer red curbs, where people should park versus people actually park. That is a reality. We need to come up with a plan for that. Type of accidents, not just counts. We have the data on that. We could have gone on and on. Next time we'll bring that to you guys if you guys want to know. Oh, someone's yes, longer red curbs. Maintenance. Make sure you fund maintenance. That is a big deal. This is great feedback. Thank you everyone for this. And we can share a review of this with everyone. Final question of the day. For follow-up workshops, some of you already talked about this in the last one. What information would you like presented? What do you want to give feedback on? There's a lot of different things you can talk about when presenting this. Someone just brought up that they want to know different types of crash data, not just the count, but what happened. Was it a person biking, walking? Was it car on car? Was it car and car? We have that data. We can share with you. We shared some speed data today, some average daily traffic data. We have turn data, parking data. What is interesting to you guys? What would you also like to give feedback on? Is it fun to go through plan by plan like we did today? Or do you just want to hear about intersections or certain treatments, things like that? We just wanted to open it up to some feedback because we know that we could always be doing better. Someone says, would like to know what design changes were made based on community input. We could definitely be clearer about that, and we'll make sure we consider that next time. Visuals of what the street improvements would look like once installed. We can think about some renderings, how we can communicate that better. Any other tidbits for us to consider?
You have one hand up right now, Natasha. Mike's got his hand up.
Thank you. Sorry, I got multiple screens and I lost track of the little Hollywood squares. Mike, feel free to come off mute and share.
So sorry, I think I left my hand up from before.
Okay. Well, it's nice to hear your voice again. Thank you. It'd be great to make data available for us to slice and dice, data transparency. We can definitely think of a way to do that better and report out on studies of outcomes for improvements done to date locally. Yeah, we can definitely think of how we can share best practices. I like any and all data. More of that's great. This is great feedback. We're always trying to do better. We want our presentations to be exciting. This can be a little droll and dry. So any way we can make it more engaging, we're always looking to do that. Well, I will stop there for now.
I'm going to keep my eye on the squares for you, Natasha. We have Guadalupe with her hand up right now.
Guadalupe, please. share.
Yes, I just have a curiosity. Before you're doing these designs, improvements, and all is being done on these areas, these corridors, do you actually talk to the people living on those neighborhoods? Because they are really the ones affected by the improvements or the modifications you're doing. The people like passing by, they just pass. They don't live there. They don't have the problem. They don't have the issues like what we do. Like for example, with San Antonio and King, that is not a well designed. I see a lot of times the people, they go on the second line and they turn right where they don't supposed to do it because it was one line was cut. So did you talk to these people before you're doing anything, any planning?
Yeah, we at the beginning of the presentation, I talked a little bit about the background of where we started to get these proposals from. We have our general plan, our climate smart San Jose plan. Those are citywide, big picture plans, tons of outreach. And more specifically, we had our Movimiento plan, which was an area-wide plan. We did pop-up outreaches. We met with the council office. We did surveys. We have a community advisor group that now you're a part of, that we can always do better with doing outreach, but that was a pretty extensive outreach process. That's why we are coming back, making sure that each time we're doing new things that we're talking more and more. We're happy to hear from you guys as we go forward. And that's why I brought up this project next steps and how to stay involved. We are having another workshop to go over the rest of the corridors next Thursday. We also are going to set up some office hours, both on the street through pop-ups, but also just sitting around on Zoom, maybe making ourselves available in person if people are interested in that, to talk about some of the problems one-on-one. Mike, I'm excited to talk to you more about the problems you're encountering with San Antonio and how it intersects with the proposals today. We want to hear from you. We want to hear often. We're also doing more mailers, neighborhood associations. If you guys are having a meeting, we'd love to come. Maybe not do the whole presentation, but share the presentation with you so that you can share it or talk a little bit about it. Whatever you need, we can be there and talk about it with you all. We also will post this presentation online in a survey and share it loud and wide with all your networks to hear from you. And again, more community pop-ups. I love standing out on the street and asking people to talk to me about the future of that street. So we're going to be doing a handful of those. The timeline, again, is pretty short for these because we did get the money to spend for something to be built within the next 2 years. So we're going to try to do it as much and as often as possible within those months. But everyone at minimum that lives on the corridors will be sent a mailer to participate in some of these things. And I can share more of the outreach at the next CAB meeting or with you over email while I was there, or just talk sometime. We have spreadsheets and charts and write-ups of the outreach we did.
Did you mention our Movimiento mailing list if people want to join it to?
Yeah, I was just going to get to that. So just wrapping up here, project next steps and how to stay involved. I kind of went over rapid fire all the different things. I will send a summary email to everyone that attended today about all the ways that we're going to be, if they can stay involved. We also have an Movimiento newsletter and mailing list that if you would like, we can all add you to. This is a quarterly newsletter where we send updates. We had the San Antonio survey out through there. We can get that going again. We can get you added. We send that mailing list every outreach opportunity we do. We invite them to. We also post on Facebook and Twitter and Nextdoor to try to get people involved. So be on the lookout for us there. We also have the Movimiento Community Advisory Group. That's a group of community stakeholders, people that live in the area, work in the area, nonprofits, community organizations, things like that. It's about 15, 20 people. We meet quarterly to talk about things like this. If you're interested in being on it or coming to their public meetings, we can share more information about that in a follow-up. And we also have the Movimiento webpage that gives an overview of the whole plan. It has all of our outreach data on there, future project proposals. It's it's a juicy one. There's a lot of stuff on there. I can't go over it right now, but we'd love for you to visit, and we can send a link to that in a follow-up email as well. And finally, you can contact us. We are always available to answer questions, to hear input, if you have complaints, you want to hear them. The Movimiento project manager is Pete Rice, and here's his email. We can send that out as a follow-up, and then I lead our multimodal transportation improvement plans as a whole. So if you have other places you want to do it, or bigger picture things, I'm all available as well. But we're both working very closely on this. We can send this presentation out as a follow-up too, if you guys would like to have it. I want to say thank you all for spending your evening with us. We know it's hard, especially when it's dinner time. Thank you. Just thank you. We can't do this without participation. And during COVID, it's been really, really tough to hear from folks. So this is, again, just the beginning. But yeah, thanks. Any closing thoughts? Again, we'll send a follow-up with all the information in the slides and have it memorized. Great. Well, thank you, everyone. I'll stay on if anyone has any questions, but thanks again for coming in. Feel free to log out. Have a great night and a restful weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
Let folks know there's the link to the San Antonio survey in the chat as well, and we'd love to get your input on that project as well.
Thank you, everyone.